Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin approaching the crossroads. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the sale on the premium list at intothecryptoverse.com, where you'll get access to weekly reports and videos and a really, really large website with on-chain data, social statistics, logarithmic regression, ROI, etc. So, in this video, I really want to take a long look at this crossroads that Bitcoin is coming up to potentially over the next few weeks. All right. So one of the things we like to do on the channel is try to have an unbiased view of the market. If anything, having a only bullish bias over the last year, it hasn't really gotten you anywhere because we're still at the same price. So the goal is to really have as unbiased as a view as possible in order to better navigate the cryptoverse. Okay. So I want to talk about a couple things. So the first thing is sort of this trend that we're in right now, where we're sort of putting in these higher lows. Okay, so Bitcoin has been putting in these higher lows for basically since January, right? We put in a higher low, we keep putting in all these higher lows. We're even at the current level, you could argue that technically it's a higher low. So what's there to be worried about, right? I mean, being technically correct is in fact the best way to be correct. And so we want to make sure that we understand that, look, we are putting in a higher low. Therefore, hey, look, the altcoin market is still relatively strong, right? Because Bitcoin hasn't given up confidence yet. We're still 40K. The thing I think that we need to watch here, and the reason I say this is because it's more so the implications to the altcoin market, okay? So what I think is worthwhile to watch is there have been a couple of times where we've seen similar type of price action. One time in 2013 where you could argue we also were putting in, higher lows, right? We put in a low, we put in a higher low, and then we ultimately went on. And then also in 2018 where we were putting in higher lows, okay? So higher low here, and then here, and then here again. Now, the reason we need to look at this is because of the fact that in 2018 we were putting in higher lows, and so you could have argued the same thing, but eventually that low ultimately fell out, and we ended up putting in a lower low. Okay, so we put in our first low in February, and then we ended up putting in a lower low in June. So here the first low was in January. So what happens if we put in a lower low in May? Like, what if we're just sort of like 1 month ahead? Because this top was in December, so then this local one at least was in November, so you could argue that it's just 1 month ahead in some respects. So the reason why this is important is because in order for us to deviate from this pattern, we need to not put in a lower low, right? We need to not put in a lower low. And we're going to talk about the implications of both. Okay, so implication of not putting in a lower low, right? If Bitcoin can get the courage to come back up and get back above its, say, 200-day SMA and go into the 50K level, then I think that would actually look quite bullish for Bitcoin if we cannot put in a lower low. And then you'll have people probably starting to think, well, we're not going necessarily down the same capitulation rabbit hole that we went down before, so it might play out a little bit differently. But the problem is what happens if we do put in a lower low? Okay, so what happens if we do come down and we go down to, say, like the low 30s and then we bounce, right? One thing to consider is that even if we do put in a lower low, there's still a good chance we'll come right back up to 40K or maybe 42, 43K. There still is a decent chance that could happen, kind of coming back up to the same level that we've been to many, many times, right? That 42K level. So, but I want to talk about why, if we put in a lower low, like how that could affect the market. So one of the things is the Bitcoin dominance, okay? The Bitcoin dominance today is at around 41.5%, which is the same level that it was at back in June of 2018. Now you might wonder what's interesting about early June of 2018. Well, in fact, it was early June of 2018 that we put in a lower low, or we started our course to putting in a lower low. So that is where the dominance started going up a lot, right? And you can see that, we're literally at the same dominance today, 41.5, as we were back then in 2018. It's just 1 month. There's just a difference of 1 month, okay, in terms of the exact timeline. And so I would argue that we're sort of at a crossroads right now, because if Bitcoin puts in a lower low, then I think it's more likely that the dominance is going to go up. Okay. I mean, it could go up 50% or 60% or something. It could go up to like 50 or 60%. I mean, I do think the Bitcoin dominance is in a macro downtrend, but it could locally go up if Bitcoin puts in a lower low. If Bitcoin does not put in a lower low and it goes back up like it did in 2013, you could also argue that the dominance would still go up, even if the price of Bitcoin is going up. So the price of Bitcoin could go up, the dominance could go up with it. However, if Bitcoin stagnates for a while, and we know the dominance can continue, sort of continue this downtrend that it's in. I think, one of the things when I look at these types of charts and I just say, well, the dominance is at the same level that it was back over here. We were also rejected off of the 200-day over here, right? We were rejected off the 200-day, and we were most recently rejected off the 200-day right here as well. So the thing that I'm looking for to deviate is, can Bitcoin get out of this sort of this range that it's in and break back above 50K, all right? Let's suppose that Bitcoin bounces to, say, the 43 or 44K level. That still doesn't necessarily mean anything, because that's still where the bull market support band is. So let's imagine that Bitcoin sees some type of a bounce over the next week or two to, say, 42 or 43K. We need to get back above the bull market support band and then hold it as support. So the reason I say we're coming up to a crossroads is because I think we're gonna have to move one way or another at some point in the next few weeks, is my guess, right? We're either gonna break out to the upside, or we're going to break down. If we break down like we did in 2018 and we go put in a new low at, say, 30K, a new local low at 30K, where we put in a new low compared to this, then that is where the altcoin Bitcoin valuations would start to take a big hit, okay? So that's where they took a big hit back in the summer, the summer of 2018. And so I just want to caution people to say, watch Bitcoin, okay? As long as it does not put in a lower low and we stay in this channel that we're in, then the altcoin market is still holding up relatively well. The problem is that if we put in a lower low, then at that point, I think the general expectation is that all Bitcoin valuations would bleed as they did back in 2018. So I do want people to try to adopt a non-biased view, an unbiased view of the market, so that you can better navigate the cryptoverse, okay? I think a lot of us would agree that we are generally going to continue to increase with time, but still locally, there is some reason, to be cautious in this market, considering that there are some similarities to what we've seen before. So in order to break these similarities, what do we need to see? We need to see something like 2013 play out, where Bitcoin ultimately holds these sort of higher lows, however you want to look at it, where it holds these higher lows and then ultimately puts in a new all-time high. I do not think we're going to see new all-time highs in Q2. Okay, so let me be clear. I don't think we're going to see new all-time highs in Q2. But looking at this right now, we're sort of at the bottom of this uptrend channel. If we bounce, remember, it's the bull market support band that we need to get back above, and that's at around 43 to 44K. So I do think we're coming up to a crossroads here in the short term, and we're going to have to figure out what happens after that. Do note that if we do break down, it doesn't necessarily mean we have to go all the way back down like 2018, but that would at least change the market structure for a while, okay? So just to overlay what that would look like if it were to play out the exact same way, which again, it probably won't. Nothing ever does play out the exact same way. But if it did, you'd be looking at something like that, where we're still going to be sitting between 30 and 40K for a while, even if we do put in a lower low. Okay, so I want people to sort of look at the market and say, you know what, this is where we are today. We've seen this type of price action before. In order for us to deviate from it, we need to not put in a lower low. And if we do put in a lower low, then we understand that at that point, the Bitcoin valuations would likely bleed, okay? If we don't put in a lower low, then all Bitcoin valuations are still probably doing okay. So watch that over the next few weeks. I imagine that we're still going to be hanging out in this area, maybe even for the rest of April, for all of I know. you know, I mean, where it could maybe bounce back up 43K, 44K, something like that. And then it's going to be a critical test of, can we put in a higher high and actually break out of the channel and go put a new high? Or do we put in a lower low where we see alt Bitcoin valuations bleed? If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and remember to check out the sale on the premium list into thecryptoverse.com. That sale is going to end in 2 days. Thank you for tuning in, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.